So Donald Trump won a big PR victory yesterday. He won a big PR victory mainly because it seems like the Democrats at the upper echelons of the party, the people who are running Joe Biden's campaign, they don't seem to know even relatively recent history. The 2016 campaign that pitted Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump turned into a campaign about upper-class elitism that largely predominated in places like Washington, D.C. and New York City against Donald Trump's sort of blue-collar vibe. And yesterday, that was on precisely the same sort of display in New York City. So you had 4 presidents who descended into New York City yesterday, but they went for very different purposes. Donald Trump went to New York City to attend the wake of a New York City police officer who was murdered in the line of duty. The visitation was for Officer Jonathan Diller, who was fatally shot during a traffic stop on Monday and was held in suburban Massapequa on Long Island. According to the Associated Press, police said the 31-year-old Diller was shot below his bulletproof vest while approaching an illegally parked car in Queens. Diller was married, had a 1-year-old son, and was pronounced dead at the hospital. Here was Donald Trump talking about law and order and a crackdown on crime coming out of the memorial service for this dead young officer.
This is such a sad occasion. The only thing we can say is maybe something is going to be learned. We've got to toughen it up. We've got to strengthen it up. This should never be allowed. Things like this shouldn't take place, and to take place so often.
What message did you convey to the family?
We've got to toughen it up. What do you mean? We've got to have law and order. These things can't happen. We need law and order. It just can't happen. Thank you very much.
The same exact time that Donald Trump was visiting this memorial service, the Democrats were preparing for a ritzy fundraiser over at Radio City Music Hall. President Biden went to Radio City Music Hall. He was joined there by Barack Obama as well as Bill Clinton. They apparently raised more than $26 million, and they had a bevy of stars. It was a cavalcade of glitzy Hollywood celebrities, ranging from Lizzo to Cynthia Erivo to Lea Michele of Glee, and also who's now on Broadway. Had all these stars just singing, dancing for the assembled crowd, many of whom I'm sure were paying tens of thousands of dollars for the privilege. And it's the glitz and the glamour that were at the center of all of this. There is video of Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and Bill Clinton literally rising from underneath the stage, like it's some sort of bizarre rock concert. Here they come. The stage literally rises, and it has these 3 presidents on it. First of all, you don't know how old Joe Biden is until you see him next to Barack Obama. It really is an astonishing thing. I mean, Barack Obama looks significantly younger because he is significantly younger. Joe Biden looks older than Bill Clinton, who stopped being president of the United States in January of 2001. Obama looks bewildered to even be there. He's getting these sorts of rounds of applause from Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. It's so clear, by the way, that Obama is such a celebrity. I mean, Obama obviously has charisma. He's loose out there. He's charming. And Joe Biden is staggering around on the stage. And then Stephen Colbert comes charging out to pay homage to Joe Biden. He interviews all 3 presidents. Now, this was closed to the press. The reason it was closed to the press, presumably, is because they knew that it was actually quite a bad look. That in a time when most Americans are deeply unhappy with the direction of the country, they're having this ritzy, glitzy, glamorous fundraiser in the center of New York City at Radio City Music Hall. April 7th marks 6 months since Hamas brutally attacked Israel, launching a vicious war for Israel's very survival. We're living in times we never thought we'd see. As Israel fights for their existence, so many people around the world have turned their backs on the Israeli people right when they need them most. The International Fellowship of Christians and Jews is on the ground right now, delivering critically needed emergency supplies to those who are suffering. There's an immediate need for essentials like food, medicine, and emergency supplies for hundreds of thousands of suffering Jews. Many cannot return to their homes because of the rocket fire in the north from Hezbollah. Israel's in desperate need. That's why I'm partnering with the fellowship today. Every donation is urgently needed. It's a matter of life and death for men, women, and children who have been displaced because their homes were destroyed. Many families are still torn apart. Many have loved ones being held hostage. The fight is not over. The Israeli people are still suffering. Your gift today to the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews will show them they aren't forgotten. To give to the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, visit benforthefellowship.org. That's benforthefellowship.org. Again, benforthefellowship.org. God bless and thank you. According to NBC News, Mindy Kaling from The Office originally, then she had her own show, obviously. She hosted the program. It was also hosted by Stephen Colbert, who is in fact just an apparatchik for the Democratic Party. He has been for a while. He moderated a conversation with Biden, Clinton, and Obama in which all of them ripped into Donald Trump, of course. And again, Donald Trump was busily going to, an actual memorial service for a fallen officer in a Democratic city. So let me ask you, which one is more sympathetic? Donald Trump going to visit with the family of a slain New York City police officer, or Joe Biden, who still has not gone to, for example, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, which is an hour outside Washington, D.C., even just to stand there for the cameras. Instead, heading on over to Radio City Music Hall to hang out with Uber celeb Barack Obama and former Uber celeb Bill Clinton. Other special guests included Queen Latifah, Ben Platt. Apparently, according to NBC News, during the nearly hour-long moderated conversation, Colbert joked that the moment was historic because 3 presidents have come to New York and not one of them appear in court. So you know, it's all these little jibes, these snide jibes at Trump. But Trump is busy doing the thing that blue-collar people do and that kind of normies do. You know, when a tragedy occurs, we visit the memorial services. We try to comfort the family. It's a bad look for the administration. It's a bad look for the White House. It's a bad look for Joe Biden. And it's very reminiscent, again, of 2016. You remember the 2016 Democratic National Convention? We had a bevy of celebrities all involved in the filming of the most obnoxious music video of all time. All of these people singing fight song to Hillary Clinton because she was a fighter. And everybody just recoiled in horror at the absolute stupidity of all of it. This felt a lot like that. So it was a very, very bad look. Democrats knew it was a bad look, by the way, because they immediately launched into Trump for visiting the memorial service. Here's former Representative Joe Crowley, the guy who was ousted by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in her district. Here he is just talking about Trump exploiting tragedy. Well, I mean, he's acknowledging a tragedy. Joe Biden is the one ignoring the tragedy.
The notional idea that Donald Trump cares at all for this officer or this officer's family is outrageous. He has not an ounce of sympathy in his body. It is hypocritical. I think people look at it as hypocritical, that he's using this grieving family for political purposes, for a political rally. It's outrageous. Where was that same empathy for the families of police officers and others who passed away as a result of the 1/6 attack? It didn't exist. He doesn't care about anyone but himself. And New Yorkers are sophisticated enough to know that. I hope America is more sophisticated to understand he's exploiting a grieving family.
Okay, well, he's acknowledging the grieving family. Joe Biden is busily hanging out with Barack Obama and Stephen Colbert. That's what was going on in New York City last night. Karine Jean-Pierre was so puzzled by all of this that she tried to blame the crime surge that's been happening in some of America's major cities on Donald Trump.
Surge under the previous administration, which repeatedly attempted to cut the cops program, all of their budgets targeted that key funding for the police, and congressional Republicans just proposed doing it again. So this is a the Biden-Harris administration have done the polar opposite, taking decisive action from the very beginning to fund the police and achieving a historic reduction in crime under his leadership.
Okay, so that is not going to hunt. That dog is not going to hunt. Democrats, again, are disconnected from the vast majority of the American people on issues like, for example, crime. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.